It gave me another level of freedom, because I'm a lot more free underwater. Nothing to restrict my movement.
And so this experience with Denver Adaptive Divers really gave me such an eye-opening experience that even though I was a little bit scared at first to do scuba, that I could do it.
The breathing and having everything silent under the water actually was extremely therapeutic.
You know, you just kind of fight just to have one little slice of normality in your life, where you're back to where you were before, and so this was part of it, and it helped.
Just to see people so grateful to, have had their lives changed completely, but here they're able to do something normal. And in the water, they're like everyone else.
It's, at this point with my disease, it feels good because you float.
Yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And
it took me from a place where I thought like I would never be able to do to now all I want to do is advocate and help people. I no longer have any fears of being around any body of water, anything. The first time they dropped me in the ocean, it was an experience that I will never forget. I can't forget it.
Yeah, buddy. Love it.
Yeah.
Welcome, friends and family, to Denver Adaptive Divers' 5th annual celebration. We miss seeing you in person on January 31st, the date of our scheduled dinner and auction, but we're thrilled to be with you live tonight to let you know what is happening with Denver Adaptive Divers and to introduce you to our student recipients, their instructors, and their dive buddies. May we begin by recognizing that this has been a year and a half that we will never forget. The pandemic has caused loss and grief the world over, and we applaud the organization and countries that we would normally be diving at now for taking the concern of their residents and healthcare systems over that of us, the tourists. We long to be back diving in the beautiful Caribbean Ocean, and will be soon, but to all we want to pay our respects for COVID and any losses you may have experienced. I'm John Sherman, Executive Director of DAD and one of the Denver Adaptive Divers instructors. And with me is Janine Melberg, a dive buddy and the head of our fundraising. As you heard on the video, DAD has helped to change the lives of the people we have the honor to work with. Tonight, we're here to ask for your support so more people with physical and cognitive challenges can regain the freedom of movement and feel peace underneath the water with scuba. I'd like to give you a brief history of DAD so we can see how far we have come. In 2016, Janine came to work at Denver Divers, a full-service dive shop in the heart of Cherry Creek North in Denver, and expressed interest in helping people with physical disabilities learn how to dive. We teamed up with 2 organizations that made that a reality: Dive Pirates and Adaptive Adventures. Dive Pirates, out of Houston, Texas, works with local chapters to train, equip, and send on dive trips people with physical disabilities. Adaptive Adventures in Lakewood provides recreational activities for people with physical disabilities. We became the Denver chapter of Dive Pirates. Barbara Thompson, one of the Dive Pirate founders, came to Denver and certified 5 of our open water instructors as classified open water instructors. Classified is a term used for adaptive in the world of scuba. With 5 instructors, we needed a student. Matt Feeney, co-founder of Adaptive Adventures and an avid diver himself, encouraged participants to take part in our Tri-Scuba classes so that we could see what the excitement was all about. One of these classes, Connor Hall, became our first student, and Katie Quinn, our first dive buddy. Then we had to raise the money to train, equip, and send Connor and Katie on their Dive Pirates adventure, a trip to Cayman Brac. This was accomplished by our first annual DAD event, a sit-down dinner for 57 at Janine's house, catered by our friends and fellow diver, Brian Hubner. The event was a success. We raised $18,000, and we were on our way. Meanwhile, before Connor and Katie even started their training, I answered a phone call from Barbara asking to serve as a substitute instructor for John, a quadriplegic man from Omaha. I took the plunge and have loved my work with and advocating for adaptive diving ever since. Corky Vickers, one of our original 5 instructors, trained and accompanied Connor and Katie to Cayman Brac. All of us attending these 2 trips had incredible experiences, and upon arriving back to Denver, wanted to sign up more Denver Dive Pirate students. Over the following year, we trained and sent 3 more students on Dive Pirate trips. Our dinner grew, events grew, and we left Janine's house for larger venues. By 2018, it became obvious that more people were interested in becoming students, and we found the need to grow our organizations. Thus, Denver Adaptive Divers, or DAD, was born. Since 2016, we have grown, and we are proud to announce that we now have 19 classified instructors, 35 classified dive buddies, and most importantly, we have accompanied 18 students on life-changing scuba diving adventures. Tonight, we will share messages from our DAD family about how important this program has been in their lives. But to continue our activities, we need your support. Any dollar amount is greatly appreciated and will go towards making life-changing experiences a reality. Donating is easy. Get on your donation page and follow the instructions. If you have any problems, please let us know in the chat box on your screen. Now join us as we hear from our instructors, dive buddies, and students about the impact DAD has had on their lives.
The smile that I see underwater. As soon as the students get that freedom again, from not being able to be fully mobile to being able to be fully mobile underwater, and seeing their smile is absolutely stunning.
I look at my DAD students the same way I look at any student. And that has been the problem with their lives, is everybody looks at them differently and treats them differently. Within the DAD program, we look at everybody the same way, and we treat everybody the same way.
We may think we changed their lives, Janine, but they actually changed ours. And it just warms your heart when you see them come up out of the water and they're free. Yeah. From their wheelchairs or their walkers. We're on equal footing.
We're going to be training our first blind students. And, we've wanted to do that for a long time. What's happening now? We've got other blind students wanting to learn as well. And PTSD, we had experience with one recipient on a trip. It was incredibly positive. And TBIs and being able to work with those types of injuries is just kind of the next step.
Well, I think the enjoyment on 2 levels. One, being able to give freedom in the form of scuba diving to those who probably thought they would never get the opportunity to do it. And 2, to watch how much my colleagues have come together to make all that happen. So the idea of family really has come together nicely in this program.
I think we need to, both of us, just express our appreciation for being given this opportunity, and everybody that's been involved, from raising funds to training us to taking us and becoming our friends. It's so appreciated to everybody that's coming up into the program, the new recipients or everybody that's just helping out and stuff like that. This is an incredible experience and it's so worth it. And I feel very happy for you.
And the people that have disabilities and say, well, I can't do it, there's always a way. There's always a way. Yes, just do it.
I've missed it over the years since I had gotten MS. It's taken me a while to get back in the water again, and Dad really helped me get back to doing things that I used to love to do.
Well, I think it's been really important. We have 3 girls, as you know, and they were pretty young when Dave was diagnosed. So it was really important for them to see him be able to do something that he'd always loved to do. So this year, as I mentioned, we got engaged while we were diving, and this year is our 25th anniversary. So we're hoping to be able to celebrate with a dive trip later in the year. I think that diving is back in our life to stay, and we are both very thankful about that. Thanks to Dad.
During the training program, I worked with Glenn here, and I had a lot of fun doing the training here, but it was even better in the ocean.
And we just appreciate Glenn so much for taking his time to be part of this program. Having been a volunteer, I understand what it's like on their side, so yes, very appreciative.
I'm thankful every day that Vince and I have been able to be a part of Dad, because every single time we're involved in something, it's like life-changing. Met so many new friends, learned so many things, and it's given me a whole different outlook on diving. And so I'm very, very thankful for that.
I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely everything in a nutshell. I mean, they inspire us and they say we inspire them, so it's a perfect marriage.
The video describes the crux of our organization, providing freedom of movement underwater and peace through scuba diving. You may ask, who do we serve? Our students include, but are not limited to, persons with spinal cord injuries, quadriplegia, paraplegia, multiple sclerosis, ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, amputees, and those with neurological diseases. As Corky mentioned, we are preparing to work with a gentleman who became blind as an adult. There is no limit to who we would like to work with, although all students must get medical permission before engaging in our training program, because it is, after all, the full open water diver training program. Before we tell you more about our students, Janine wants to make sure that you know how you can support us tonight.
Participation and registration are easy and free, and there is still time for you to contact your friends and family around the country if they want to join us tonight. Donation works the same way. You can visit us at denveradaptivedivers.afrogs.org, or you can text the word DAD 2021, all one word, to number 888-403-4599, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Any of these will get you to our donation page, and the instructions are easy to follow. Don't forget, one lucky registrant will become the owner of this beautiful hermit crab sculpture. So register now. If you have any problems, please leave a note in the chat box on your screen. Now John's going to tell you about the training process.
Potential DAD students begin with a Tri-Scuba class. Denver Divers offers these classes to their customers, but with DAD, they are supported by our classified instructors and dive buddies, making sure that all attending class feel safe. If a person enjoys their Tri-Scuba experience, they complete an application, get medical approval from their physician, and are interviewed by our instructors. Once approved, a training schedule is created. DAD students complete the same Scuba Skills International, known as SSI, open water diving curriculum taught throughout Denver Divers. The classified simply means that our instructors work to discover which scuba skills a participant is able to execute. When they're not able to execute a skill or a set of skills, the instructor works with their dive buddies to figure out what kind of support the student needs to execute the skills. Let's watch to see what students and instructors say about adaptive diving.
I can remember the day Dave asked me to drop him off at the dive center, and I'm like, well, how's that going to work? And I couldn't figure out how it would work for him to go diving. And then I dropped him off, picked him up, and he said it worked great, and you know, that you guys had been prepared. And that same day was when we found out about the dive trip, and that was, I still didn't even understand how it was all going to work, but it was the beginning of the adventure.
What's the difference between teaching a DAD student and a non-DAD student?
Well, adaptive classified diving, that's the very key of it, is you are adapting diving to the person. When you're teaching, a typical student comes in the water, I want to be an open water diver, we put them in, we use our knowledge and abilities and instructors say, this is how you scuba dive. This is what I want to see you do. With an adaptive student, sometimes those things don't work. Either the equipment isn't appropriate for that person because of perhaps a missing limb or an inability to make a piece of equipment function, or some things that we consider real basic, body position, that we insist with a student, they be attempting to be horizontal in the water. With an adaptive student, that may not be the body position that works for them. Some of our folks that are quadriplegic, for instance, may not be comfortable breathing in that horizontal position. So sometimes I think the biggest adaptation is to adapt your understanding of what's right as an instructor. Make sure that with adaptive diving, we are changing diving to meet the person instead of changing the person into a diver.
I always find it interesting that only 2% of the world's population has had the opportunity or had the guts to try scuba diving. DAD students have disabilities, which would seemingly prevent them from participating in a sport with inherent risks, yet they prevail and thrive. And our instructors and dive buddies provide the empathy and passion, as well as the knowledge to teach them safely and creatively. Before we go to meet an extraordinary man and hear his story, we want to give thanks to our partners and sponsors. Over the years, we have been so grateful to have the full support of the partners who own and run the Denver Divers Dive Shop, their generous access to the pool and the classroom, their staff who help coordinate our trips, and their work in the background to make DAD a viable organization has been tremendous, and we want to applaud them. In addition, we have had in-kind donations from TUSA for wetsuits, masks, fins, and snorkels for our students and their personal dive buddies. SSI's Classified Diving Organization has certified our instructors, been on trips with us, and supported our activities. SSI provides study materials and has been the leader in developing standards for adaptive diving education. Mike Magdaleno, with the conference experience, has been our support to make this virtual event a reality. And Innovative Scuba Concepts provides scuba accessories for our students. Our financial sponsors are greatly appreciated, and there is still time for you to join this group of DAD supporters. For a donation of $500 or above, you too can become a DAD sponsor. And we are also so thankful for our DAD family donors, without whom we could have not brought you this event. Without all these helping hands, Dad could not grow or provide the life-changing experiences to our students. Now, let's get back to the Dad program.
Once a training schedule is developed, students receive homework, which must be completed before they enter the classroom. The program follows the online SSI, Open Water Dive curriculum, in its entirety. There are a total of 8 hours of classroom work. During the same sessions, the fun begins in the pool. A non-dad student usually spends 8 hours in the pool learning and perfecting skills. With our students, creativity is required to execute those skills. It takes time and learning from mistakes until a successful system is achieved. All this learning, of course, is another step along the path to the ultimate adventure, the dive trip. Here are our students describing their training.
You're working with an incredible crew of ladies and gentlemen. In particular, you're working with Craig Hilton and Corky Vickers and his wife Patty and John Sherman. What do you think about those guys?
They're incredible. They're very well trained. I feel very safe around them. I can obviously tell they've been doing this for many years and care about what they do, and that they have my safety in mind, and ultimately the amount of fun I have in mind. They know that if I'm safe, I'm gonna be able to have a good time. So.
The certification training was tough. We had to do a lot of learning about how to regulate and all of the tricks and all of the communication skills underwater.
Ted's level of patience just throughout the whole process, even on the trip, just, you know, being super helpful and compassionate about all the things that we had to try and do to make it work. And you know, the training here was it was a lot of fun, really. Just getting to learn from the mistakes that you made.
Training is exceptional because you have personal trainers that show you exactly what you need to do with the equipment and help you with the coursework and help you through the whole process, and you really feel comfortable by the time you get to the ocean.
I remember the very first day we came to Denver and tried to scuba dive in the pool, and Tammy was having a lot of trouble figuring out how to breathe underwater, which I took to it rather easily. So I was down on the bottom swimming back and forth, and I would look up and I'd see her with her head in the water. So finally she got angry after about 45 minutes, angry with herself, and said, I need to do this. He's just having too damn much fun down there.
I remember joking around and saying, oh, you know, is Tammy going to get off the ledge? Tim's out there. Tim is our quote-unquote adaptive diver, but it's Tammy we're having troubles with.
Classes online through the SSI program. So I did some classes, and then I came in here with Allie, I think for a couple weeks, and she did my training one-on-one, and she was just absolutely fabulous. Went the extra mile to understand more about PTSD, because I believe I was one of the first for PTSD recipients.
We are very excited to see the DAD past students coming back and diving with us and continuing to grow as divers and being able to be mentors on the boats, helping them out on the different trips, and then becoming hopefully advanced open water divers and beyond.
I still remember the event Tim Ashley was referring to. Tammy truly took some time before she was comfortable diving in the pool. We were proud to report that Tammy got off the ledge, loves diving, and has passed the rigorous training to become a certified dive buddy. Together, Tim and Tammy can now dive the world. In addition to our financial and in-kind sponsors, Dad relies heavily on relationships made with organizations serving our same audience. I've mentioned Adaptive Adventures and Dive Pirates, who helped us get established. We're also work with the Independence Center and Arise Beyond Barriers, two groups that work to provide recreational, social, and educational opportunities for people with disabilities. Our student, Carrie Batts, works at the Independence Center. Tim Ashley founded Arise Beyond Barriers, and his personal goal is to help us grow the number of people coming to take part in our Try Scuba classes and ultimately go through the DAD program. This year, we're thrilled to announce that DAD has expanded its scope to encompass students with traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, and post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. The Rocky Mountain Hyperbaric Association is studying the effects of underwater pressure on patients with TBI and PTSD. Our medical advisory board includes Kara Leach, a practice physician who specializes in medical treatment using the hyperbaric chamber. We've experienced with our student, Mickey, who suffers from TBI, PTSD, and whose symptoms were significantly reduced when diving. Craig Hilton, one of our classified instructors, is taking the lead on this cognitive program. He is also working with veteran organizations such as Joint Community Forces and the Soldier Recovery Unit at Fort Carson. We are working with Bob Adwar, Executive Director of River Deep Foundation, to see how Bob's participants can become DAD divers. River Deep helps military veterans and other individuals who have experienced physical, emotional, and psychological trauma, and those who assist them to heal and re-engage in life through adventure, recreation, and a network of support. We are continuing to make new relationships as word of DAD spreads throughout the community. One partnership we want to highlight tonight is with Amy Ginsberg, a prosthetist with Handspring Prosthetics. Amy, an avid diver, moved to Colorado 2 years ago, found out about what we were doing, and came to get involved. She has worked with a number of our students, and here is one of them.
It gives me some more flexibility to be more independent, right? I not have to have somebody right by my side watching me to see if I'm buoyant or not. Without hand gestures, we got eyes or something like that with Ben, so he's got to be really close to watch me if I'm doing something. And this he won't have to do that. I'm excited, yeah, but I have to say Amy is one of the most out-of-the-box prosthetists that I've met. I've met a bunch of them over 37 years, and she's right up there at the top, yeah. Yeah, because she's more than, because Vince, we were doing our last scoop. We were in the shower. He's getting me dressed, and he says, he put my arms on. He said, too bad they can't make something prosthetic where you could operate that BC, just in passing. And I thought, well, I'm just going to call Amy, run that by her. So that's kind of what started the process, yeah. We have always loved the water for many, many years. Every year we would go somewhere in the Caribbean for snorkeling. I mean, at one time, I have two younger brothers, and we went to south of Playa del Carmen area, Cozumel area, and my brothers are certified divers. And my middle brother called to see if he would be interested in teaching a bilateral arm amputee. And he says, well, bring him down and let's see. And he was just so nice to me. He went home that night and did something for my mouthpiece with a piece of elastic so it wouldn't fall out. And I just never thought I would ever be scuba diving with my two brothers before. So I kind of fell in love with that. Yeah, for all the people who've been involved, it's been very touching for me too, yeah, that I care about this. Vince is very, very good. He just makes you feel real comfortable with him, and makes you feel real comfortable with the water. He's always watching you, and we make sure we have all what my signs are. If I need to blink my eyes once or twice or fast or do this and do this, what that means, and he's very responsive when he sees that. Very high comfort level, yes. Yeah, I would trust him with my life. Well, I am a person of risk. So I kind of evaluate, is it worth the risk? And for scuba diving with no arms, it's worth the risk. I've been an amputee for 37 years, and there were certainly challenges enough to, I decided it wasn't worth the challenge and many suicide attempts. And once I worked through that, learned where my self-esteem was not in my hands, it was in my Savior, my life began to change. And I pretty well learned how far I can go and when I need help, and it took a long time to ask people for help for simple things. And then a lot of those things that they've helped me with, I've learned to overcome and do them by myself. Yes. And even being an amputee for 37 years, there's still an occasion I learn new tricks to do. Probably a lot of amputees when you go, especially traumatic limb loss, especially ones I've talked to, a lot of them will say there was a time where they wished that they had not called 911. A lot of times they wish they would not have tried so hard to survive because it was very, very difficult. Carving the way maybe for other amputees to maybe experience what I'm experiencing, not have to go through all the testing and stuff like that, but it just slips on and they're gone. So if you're willing to try it but hesitant, if you don't try it, you'll never know.
Eric amazes us, as do all our DAD students. Tonight we celebrate our DAD students, their instructors and dive buddies, and hope you will support us. Donations of any size are greatly appreciated and will enable us to bring the joy of scuba to some very well-deserving folks. Again, here is how you can donate. You can visit denveradaptivedivers.afrogs.org. You can text the word DAD 2021 to the number 888-403-4599, or you can scan the QR code. Registration is free, and every dollar helps us to make dreams come true. Now we want to introduce you to Amy and Vince, who will tell us about working with Eric. Vince, Eric is an exceptional person to live with double amputations and have the desire to learn to dive. Can you give some experience about your work with Eric?
Oh, absolutely. Eric he's full of energy and life. What I liked about Eric was his enthusiasm, so I knew that I'd be able to work with him really well. While I was instructing him, I want him to do as much as he possibly can on his own. So maybe we could work with some type of prosthetic we could attach to your arm so that you could regulate your buoyancy. So I said, why don't we talk to Amy, the person he worked with for his prosthetics, and she was great because she's a diver also. And eventually what has happened is Eric has been proficient enough with it to be successful to move from a level 3 diver to a level 2 diver because he could control his buoyancy.
Corky was the first one to say, well, is it possible to have him control his hose and make some sort of prosthesis? What we do in prosthetics is we make a prototype. So I made this in my office in a couple days just to trial out, see if it's something that he can do. So the hose actually fits in here, and so it gives him the ability to use his chin, and I think he uses the end of his of his regulator to control the buttons to inflate and deflate his BC, so he doesn't need anybody to do that. We wound up using this exact prototype with the exact angle and 3D printing it, which makes it not have any corrosive parts and also make it a lot more easy when he gets done with his dive, is he can easily disconnect the hose from his socket, so then he can have it ready for his next dive and not disturb the hose to the BC or anything.
I love the fact that the instructors work so closely with Amy and Eric to develop solutions that Amy, in my mind magically, formulated into a prosthetic that allows Eric to accomplish being accompanied by only 2 divers now instead of 3. As I mentioned earlier, the DAD program begins with tri-scuba classes, proceeds to the classroom and pool, and then we go on a trip. Adaptive diving facilities are becoming greater in number around the world, but one place where we were very happy and successful experiences was at Cayman Rock Beach Resort in the Cayman Islands. Our calendar has a note saying we were supposed to take the entire property of the resort last week. 80 people, including 10 new students and 8 returning students, instructors, dive buddies, and friends of Dad. Obviously, with COVID, that became impossible. Can you say, let's go travel in November? Dad has booked a week in Bonaire, November 27th through December 4th. The DV Dive Resort in Bonaire is another fabulous resort, highly regarded for accommodating people with disabilities on land and on their dive boats. And after that week, we traveled directly to Cayman Brac Beach Resort for another week of Dad diving, December 4th through December 11th. Next May, we once again have booked the entire Cayman Brac Beach Resort and all the boats for 80 Dad divers and friends. If you're sitting at home wondering if you could come on one of these Dad trips as an able-bodied diver or just sharing the fun, the answer is yes. If you want to become a dive buddy, you can, so you can assist our students. That is a possibility as well. We're all about growing the Dad family. Contact me at Denver Divers, 303-399-2877, and I will give you the details. In May 2019, we last visited Cayman Brac Beach Resort, and everyone can tell you about the incredible week. It should be noted that when you are traveling with wheelchairs and walkers, the unexpected can occur. In our case, the plane, Cayman Airways, reserved to take us from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac, was too small to take all our luggage plus the wheelchairs. The airlines recognized the importance of the wheelchairs, made an administrative decision to send them with us, the passengers. In the morning, they arranged an additional flight with the remaining luggage. This thoughtfulness meant the world to our students. Their chairs are their legs, and with them, they can go everywhere throughout the resort. The airlines made a difficult but a correct choice in this decision, and we were so appreciative. This is why we're here tonight, to share with you our incredible opportunities provide to our students, because they are given the gift of learning skills and living experiences they never thought possible. These days, with the concern of mental health as at the forefront, Dad Experiences is helping our students and our instructors and dive buddies engage socially as well as physically in a most rewarding manner. Janine is going to review what your monies can do for Dad.
$5,000 will fully fund a Dad student from the initial Try Scuba class through the training and the ultimate dive trip, including accommodations, food, and diving costs on the trip. Our students are required to show their commitment to the program by paying their own airfare and gratuities. $2,500 pays for a student's land costs for the trip, airport transfers, accommodations, food, and diving costs. $500 pays for the open water course materials for a student. In addition, it pays for the coursework to train and certify a personal dive buddy. That includes the open water diving course, React Right in O2, Stress and Rescue, and the dive buddy training class. $150 pays for the retrofit of a student's wetsuit so it is truly usable. This includes leg and arm zippers for easy on and off, shortening of arms or legs, and creating holes for catheter bags. The folks at Bear Boulder in Lafayette have been masters at helping us make these retrofits. $100 buys our students a well-needed rash guard and a Dad hat for sun protection on the boat. $50 pays for a pair of booties for our divers. Finally, you can buy the hat for yourself for just $30. Get your phone. Get on the donations page and sign up. Your hat will be in the mail. Again, it's easy to donate. Visit denveradaptivedivers.afrogs.org, text DAD 2021 to 888-403-4599, or scan the QR code. Now that we've finished the pool and classroom training, it's time to travel and go dive.
if you take someone diving, they'll have a memory that they have a memory for the rest of their lives. If you teach someone to dive, they have the ability to create experiences for the rest of their life.
Or the dives that we had to do down there were great fun. So it was a fantastic trip. And then of course, after Ty got certified, we made a cake.
The other thing for me was just the closeness of getting with Ann, because I can't and could not do it without her.
Right.
So just having that connection that you're totally in the hands of somebody else, and having it be my wife is the best. So
That's great.
that was really good when we really got it together and we're just one with the water.
And when I got to the ocean, that's when I really started having fun. And that's when it finally occurred to me that this is going to be a great time.
I just think it's just so magical and a wonderful thing to see. I sit back on the boat and watch these paraplegics, quadriplegics be hoisted and lifted into the water, and the smiles on their faces. I mean, you don't know if there's tears because there's water there, but they're so free, and that's the way I feel. I don't have the pain that I have on top of the land. I forget about it. It just all leaves.
Isn't that just remarkable? I'd like to give a shout out to Allie Miller, who over the past 2 trips to Cayman Brac is responsible for our underwater photos. Sharing them with us is truly a gift. Let's check in to see how we are doing tonight. Our year-long goal is $75,000, and tonight's goal is $50,000. So far, we are at
$46,015. It's not too late for those of you watching. Just get online, and you too can become part of the Dad family. The hats are a comfortable, adjustable style that fits all size heads. One can be yours for only $30. But before we see what happens topside on a Dad trip to Cayman Brac, let's see who will become the owner of our Craig Hilton sculpture. Craig has been with Dad from the beginning as a classified instructor and now heads our cognitive project. He is well known as being a thorough, compassionate instructor, but his abilities with metal scraps and a torch awe us. Knowing that there are many hours of love put into making of this hermit crab, we thank him again for his generous donation tonight. And the winner of the hermit crab is Lynn Zidlow.
Yay, Lynn.
Congratulations, Lynn. Our final video gives you a glimpse at the fun everyone has when the diving is done and we're relaxing and celebrating topside. We didn't hear it in the videos, but throughout our interviewing process, one word came up time and again about the trip, how good the food was. The Cayman Brac Beach Resort knows how to take care of the divers, and that goes to their food service as well. We divers were well fueled and never hungry. You still have time to go donate. Get online now and help us reach our financial goals. With COVID restrictions being lifted, we're starting to get our students back into the classroom and pool. $75,000 will enable us to take 15 students on our trips this winter. Any amount helps and is greatly appreciated. In fact, we would like to make an announcement about anonymous donation to Dad. Some strangers to Dad came to the shop and asked about the cost to send a Dad alumni on one of our trips. I gave them the info, and there and then they made a donation, with the caveat that this money funds Justin Batchelder on his next trip. We're so very grateful for this generosity and also for the impact Justin continues to make in the Dad community. Congratulations, Justin. And now for the topside fun.
there was a lot of fun topside for sure, and it was fun because we didn't know how everybody was going to work together, helping each other. And so there was a lot of humor in when you try to do something and it was like, this is not working right. And then there'd be the joke where it's like, hey, you better get out of the way, you're going to lose your other leg here, you know, and everybody'd laugh. It's like, oh, he has, oh no, oh, this isn't good. And with Tony's wheelchair, it's like, oh, it looks like it's gonna work, and then everybody starts laughing because it's like, it's not gonna work. So I think everybody had a lot of fun trying to figure out how to let people do as much as they could on their own, but then how can we help but not be in the way and cause somebody else to get hurt. So it was just comical, a lot of fun, comical. That's great.
You know, and I enjoyed it, the camaraderie that we had when we were out of the water. What I planned to do most of the time was just meet with different people, try to eat with different people, even different meals, to see the different people that we went with. We became great friends, and like Jamie says, we were always joking.
I have to honestly say that last night, it seemed like we all just came together as one group. It felt like one group. The last night was just my favorite. Everybody was in the pool, seeing all the guys had their chairs in the pool, and just, it felt like family.
So, thank you. I can't say it enough, and really, I don't know what else to say, but thank you. It's been life-changing.
That video always makes me smile, remembering all the great times we had as the Dad family gathered to learn, dive, and celebrate. Let's wrap up the evening with one other shout out to our in-kind sponsors, to our financial sponsors, to everyone who has joined us to make a donation, and to those who simply turned in tonight to discover the life-changing work of Denver Adaptive Divers. Thank you for your support tonight and throughout the year. And remember, you too can become involved with Dad. Check out our website and contact me, John Sherman. If you belong to an organization whose participants align with those of Dad and may be interested in a Tri-Scuba class, contact me as well. We hope you enjoyed this virtual celebration, and we look forward to seeing you at the dive shop, in Bonaire or Cayman Brac, or in person at our next gala in 2022. Cheers and good night.